How many students here can communicate in English? All of you? That's good. Oh, that's good. Therefore, sometimes I will ask you some questions, simple questions. If you can, please answer me in English, okay? If you cannot, she will help us in translation. And whenever you didn't get the idea, just tell me, okay? Today, tell me at the beginning, you are chemists or biology students?
Chemists.
Okay, good. Oh my God. Okay, I will talk you a little bit about the history of medicinal plants. Maybe you don't have too much idea about the history of medicinal plant. Today, I will give you from ancient times until our day about the medicinal plant and how they use medicinal plant and who use these medicinal plants. I don't know if you already heard about Paracelsus. He's saying these things. He's saying that all things are poison because you are working about criminology, and nothing is without poison. Only the dose permits something not to be poisonous. Therefore, please, you must be careful about these things. Until plants also not safe. It's something deals with the dose. Dose. What mean dose? That's okay. That means dose, it's control everything. That means the plant is toxic or not. Therefore, you must be careful. Unfortunately, my lecture is some things is written in Turkish, but I will make explanation in English. Okay? Generally, each country they have their own books, but written in scientific way. For example, at Turkey, we have this book. Is one of the best books. At the end of the lecture, I will show you this book, and we will talk a little bit about this book. Can you help me to make a simple definition about what's the medicinal plant, or how should the medicinal plant to be? Is all the plants medicinal or not?
No, I don't think so.
Of course, I agree with you. Not all the plants on the world is medicinal plants. We have about 2 million plants on the earth. We can say 2 million higher and lower plants, but the higher plants, its most developed plants, it's about 500,000. From these, I think until today, it's documented that 50,000 is medicinal, just 50,000 plants. Anyway, we get this idea. Today at the world, about 80% of the population is still using plants. Just 20% is totally dependent on the modern medicine. For example, if you visit Amazon, South Africa, and some other place at Asia, you will see that many peoples, until in some rural areas at Kazakhstan, a lot of people do not have access to the health institutes. Therefore, they should use plants. And this WHO, World Health Organization, say that 80% of population today, they still use plants to treat their diseases. Sorry. And as I told you, it's documented 21,000. I will go fast because I want to talk about the history of the medicinal plant. Generally, today we are using medicinal plant in many things. Look, we are using it as a cosmetics, as a volatile oils. Maybe you are sometimes using some oils. By the way, the volatile oils is so expensive materials. Whenever you go, when you are at the market and trying to buy oil, plant oil, and it's so cheap, don't believe that's true oil. It's adulterated oil. You must be careful. Can you say me, as a chemist, what's the percentage of volatile oil in a plant? It's about 2%, not more, or 3%. Therefore, the volatile oils amount is so little in the plants. We are also using as a pigments for food, and for clothes. Besides that, we use it as a protective materials. Anyway, human beings, since starting of humanity, they're using some materials to treat their diseases. For example, just thinking that you are living on this earth before 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago, and you get an accident or wound, how will you treat yourself? You will need something. Maybe they will bring some tree leaves, and put on the wound to treat it. Of course, some leaves can be toxic. Yes, we will try. Human beings, they started to do these things by error and wrong. Some of them they get died, some of them get treated, and we just documented all this experience. Yes, we will start with the ancient times, with the Sumerians. You know these tablets. It's in Mesopotamia. You want to ask something?
No, can I take stool?
Of course, please. If you can. From there you can. Sorry. Oh. I think your English is better than mine. Therefore, please, I will direct all my questions to you. Okay? Look, you already heard about Sumerians, I think. They lived at the modern Iraq, between Euphrates and Dijla, we say. They write these tablets, and they have a lot of this. They write the laws of Hammurabi, for example, and Ishtar and Nineveh. They have, in these tablets, they found that there are some recipes that talking about some plants. Like what? Like these plants, Papaver somniferum, for example, that used for morphine. That means they have already problems in treating pains. You know, we are using morphine as analgesic. Therefore, it's used. A lot of plants used by old Iraqis or old Sumerians, because some people say that Iraqis not the Sumerians, they are different peoples. Anyway, by the way, the last lecture I said that China is the most developed country in the world in this field. Anciently, at the old times and new times. At the old times, you can see the Chinese documents, old documents, which started from some empires of China. They used pencil. They're using more than 300 recipes to treat many diseases. That means the documentation is so important. For example, when I am trying to search Kazakhstan plants, I have big problem in this field. We talk too much about this. The documentation is so important. Some of them not documented, some of them in Russian or Kazakh, therefore it's so difficult. Sometimes I ask you to write in English, this will be better, and to make documentation to Kazakh plants. Anyway, let's go to India. You know, after China, India's civilization is one of the most old civilizations. They have Vedas. They have old books, and you know, at India there are a lot of religions and so on. In these books, also they have a lot of things about pepper and other plants. They mention these plants in treating or doing different things. Let's go to Egypt. You know, this Epirus papyrus. Egyptians also documented many plants that used to treat in treating different problems or diseases they have. But you know, the problem, these papers can be destroyed. Therefore, a lot of them just destroyed. Unfortunately, we couldn't get in our day. Also, when we check the holy books, for example, Bible, you can see also they mentioned about the plants in holy books and Talmud. What do you think? In Quran also have some things about plants or not?
No.
No. Okay. Anyone else?
I think Quran have only about God. I don't know.
Okay. I will show you some evidence to you, okay? Okay, let me show you. Okay. Look. For example, Quran said that we grow in some plants to you that can be useful to you. Yes. Sometimes, by the way, all the holy books, as I told you, Bible, because the belief is that the people who believe in God, they know that the source is one. That's God or Allah, or as you want to say. It's the same, therefore, if the source is same, therefore the information is same. Okay? At Quran, I will show you another things at Quran. Also, he give you some pairs of plants to be useful to you. Here also saying about this. At Quran, by the way, mentioned a lot of trees and fruits, like grape, like ficus, like olive, all of them. But some of them, Quran uses in bad way. For example, to bad peoples. For example, onion. Because the Jewish, as said in Quran, I am not so, I will not talk about religion, but I will tell you what Quran say in this field. Quran say that the Jewish asked Musa, said, we want to go to some place that there are good onion, good cucumber. He said, just go to Egypt. And you know their problem or their stories. Therefore, all pomegranate also mentioned in Quran. A lot of things mentioned at Quran, like other books. We will move now to Greece, or Greek culture. You know Homerus and Odyssey and Iliad. You know this old Paris and Helene, the Truva. Did you ever watch the movie of Truva? That Paris kidnapped, I don't know if really kidnapped, or Helene, they go together, and all this big war. You must watch this movie. Yes, it's also, they mentioned, look, they mentioned some plants here. It's like 63 plants, also mentioned plants. Look, I am just moving since ancient time to our new time. All the resources, the religious resources or literature, all mentioned plants, and these plants used in treating of some diseases. For example, Enola helenium. Look, this is the species name. By the way, this is scientific name. Do you know what's mean the scientific name? No, just scientific name. Did you hear ever about scientific name? Scientific name is generally Latinized name used for all the organisms, because we should use a unified system to the naming of the creatures or the organisms. For example, human beings, our scientific name is Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens for human beings. Sorry. For some plants, one of the plants, it's Enola. For example, Helenium. For Helene, they say she was so beautiful lady, for example. The plant. Artemisia, for example, we can see in the plant names a lot of Artemisia. Artemisia means healthy. Whenever you see Artemisia, that means plant used for healthy. I captured this picture at Iraq, I think 20 years ago. Yes. A lot of ancient Greeks used plants. Look, Pythagoras, others, Hippocrates, they use it as to treat many, for example, worms in the intestine, and as a narcotics sometimes you use it, because you know before discovering anesthesia, it was so difficult to do surgery or operations. A lot of plants used for these things. Expectorant, diuretic, a lot of plants used for this. Theophrastus can be one of the most important names here, because he is the father of botany. by his books, he do a lot of things. He wrote about 500 medicinal plants and how it's used to treating different things or different diseases. By the way, Theophras said that the doses must be increased gradually. Why? Yes, the doses must start from the low and go higher and higher.
For our immunity, adapted for.
Okay, I will agree your answer. Okay, yes, because sometimes if you start in high dose, for example, look, we are using, for example, to write the doses, milligrams per kilogram. For example, without starting, maybe you will start here, maybe it will kill you. First, we should start at 10 or maybe 15 or 50. It will be better than one time I will give you 1,000 milligram. It can be killed you. Therefore, the toxicity is so important for us. Therefore, Theophras said that the doses must be raised gradually, not directly. Immunity, it can be in other states, but not directly. But it can be one of the Silas also. He talk about 250 medicinal plants in his books. By the way, most of them, they are physicians. But the most important name here, when we talk about medicinal plants, he's Dioscorides, this guy. He was a soldier in the Rome army. He's the father of pharmacognosy. Did you hear ever about pharmacognosy? Pharmacognosy. So easy. Pharmacognosy, using of natural products in the treatment of diseases. Natural product, treating of diseases. These natural products can be not just plants. It can be animals or can be minerals. This natural therapy. When you hear about natural therapy, don't think just about plants. It can be animals used. For example, for migraine at China, they are using leopards or tigers. They killed most of the tigers, and now they have a big problem in this issue. Not just plants, animals, and minerals. Some minerals. Did you hear ever some minerals used in the therapy? What about you? What do you think? Did you hear about minerals used in therapy? Okay, anyway, I'm not trying to embarrassing you, just asking. We are friends and talking about plants. Okay, Dioscorides, the most famous ancient plant in the field in the field of plants is the Materia Medica. The Materia Medica is written by Dioscorides, and this plant have a lot of recipes about the plants. But the most important thing about Dioscorides, he do some systematic in work. For example, he write the name and the vernacular name of plants, all the names, I mean the common names, not just scientific names, how the plant appeared, I mean he described the plant, he described the location, he write everything, how it's collected, how it's prepared to be used as a medicine. He wrote everything in Materia Medica. This is his book, Dioscorides. Sorry. Oh. He wrote about many plants. Look, these plants is mentioned by Dioscorides. By the way, Dioscorides can be considered old in comparison with the starting of human beings or humanity. He used salix. Yesterday in our trip, we saw salix plant. Chamomile, one of the most important. Garlic, you know, garlic, still used every day maybe. Garlic, one of the magic plants on the earth. Which is the most field that garlic used to? It's used for hypertension. Whenever you have hypertension, you are now young people, not like me. I am old guy, therefore I have tension, blood tension, high blood tension. Every day I am using garlic. Yes, onion also, we are using onion in all cultures. Can you say me onion can be a good antimicrobial agent? Therefore, try to use it every day. Sorry. We use a lot of things, things that written by Discoides. For example, chamomile is written by Discoides. He wrote a lot of things, but one of the most important things wrote about this plant. This is chamomile. He used that it's used for abortion. You know, when some lady do not want to keep the child, it's used for abortion. But this information was wrong. After the scientists do scientific experiments about this chamomile, they discovered that what Discoides write, it was wrong. By the way, not all the things or the information you found in the books, it can be old books, it can be true. Therefore, after we do scientific research or scientific experiment, that we discover that Discoides was wrong in this about chamomile. Yes, we will talk about other scientists. Yes, the second important person in the field of medicinal plant after Discoides is the Pliny the Elder. He lived in the same age with Discoides. His book's name Historia Naturalis. He also mentioned about more than thousands of plants that used in the treatment. And yes, we have gallinos, we have a lot of plants used in with the Christians, old Christians. They used peppermint, they used different kind of plants in their place in the holy places, their holy places. About the Islam, I am gradually coming to our day. The Muslims, there are a lot of scientists of Muslims. For example, Biruni, Ibn Sina, Ibn al-Baytar. Did you hear the name of those scientists? For example, Ibn Sina is so famous. He's can be the father of modern medicine. Ibn Sina, he's a Muslim Persian scientist. Yes, he carried out the first operation. Yes, he was so famous. Also, he wrote in his book Al-Qanun fi Tibb, or the rules or the law in the medicine. He wrote about a lot of plants. Yes, more than 100 plants he mentioned in his book Al-Qanun fi Tibb, the law in medicine. But the most important, you know, when we go back to Ottoman Empire, also there are many documentation, but unfortunately it's not too much. They wrote some references about that, but frankly it's not too much. It shows how the old pharmacies, how they bought the different types of drugs. For example, at 1868 at Ыстамбұл, there was just at that time, at this year, 45 pharmacy, but more than 2,000 herbalists. That means most of the people depend on herbalists, not on the pharmacies, modern pharmacies. Of course, at this old time, the pharmacies is used basic synthetic or chemical compounds. Also, this is a view of the actors, how they prepare different formulas. Also, some kings like Big Charles, also he support doing scientific research in some fields, especially in about Salvia officinalis, which is used as a tea, one of the most used tea in the treatment of different diseases.